Welcome to my channel. My name is Gail Scott and I am a galactic channeler, and I channel messages from all over the universe for the benefit of mankind. And if you enjoy these, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also please subscribe to my newsletter on the website link below so that you can get advance notice of when these videos are coming out, and information about my weekly meditation, which happens channeled every Wednesday evening, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. And so today's message is all about the soul, and it's come in really as a directive and an educational piece for us as humanity to understand a little bit better about the connection between being human and the soul. And so the first statement that they came in with, my guides, was returning to you is the reason why you exist. And so it's a little cryptic. So let's go on. They asked, what is the impulse of your soul and how do you return to you? And what does this mean? So the essence of this message is really around what it means to be human, why you are here, and how your spiritual connection can be made on an ongoing basis to assist you to live a more calm, peaceful, loving life, which is the essence of all of my messages. So as spiritual beings, we are all spiritual beings, every single one of us. We all have an element of the God consciousness within us. And we come into this world in a human body, and we come in specifically for the reason to have a physical experience, and it's called an incarnation. And so when we come in, most of us actually forget that we have that divine connection within us. They're saying about 99% of us actually forget when we cross over from the spiritual world into the material world, this 3D earth-like experience. We forget that we're actually here for a journey, and it's the journey of the soul. And it's the journey of the soul within this human body that you're living in. And they've also likened Earth to a boot camp, a school, a process. It's not an easy experience. And so it's only pretty brave, courageous souls that come to Earth, because we have it hard here. We get to learn what it's like to be with emotions, what it's like to be in relationship, and what it's like to almost, in a sense, figure out who we are. So you're not here to make money. You're not here to have children, although some of you may have that as a purpose. Actually, the reason why you're here is to return to yourself. And that means to remember what you've forgotten. And that is to remember who you are, which is God, which is a very broad statement. And some of you may have a hard time believing that, but this is the essence of the spirituality that I teach. And so here you are as a spiritual being, a soul housed within this physical human body that you have. And why are you here? You're here to learn, you're here to grow, you get to do things, you get to be a certain person. And at the end of the day, all of those experiences are to assist you to learn about duality, to learn about the good and the bad, and to come back to yourself, which is love, the energy of the universe, God, divine source, consciousness, whatever you want to call it. And so why would you do this? Like, what is the point? Well, God, consciousness, Shiva, the energy that runs everything, decided that it wanted to experience everything. And in order to do that, it had to create some kind of energetic being in order to live through that. And that is what we are. We are one of millions of different energies that consciousness can live through. And so this journey that we have as human beings, this is the journey of the soul. It's the impulse of the soul. And, you know, the soul has a deep desire to experience all kinds of things. And it's because we forget that we are that soul in a human body, that we actually get to have these experiences without attachment. Now, they used the word attachment and mentioned, that might be very difficult for some of you to understand. And what they mean by that is that you're not connected to yourself. That means the real you, the essence of you that is love, the soul that is within you. But the idea is that kind of running in the background, like your computer programming, is the impulse of the soul. It's the essence of the soul. So you're actually always connected to it. But sometimes, most of the time, we're distracted doing other things. And because we don't come in with that connection established in a way that we can continue to connect to it on an ongoing basis, because of the families that we live in and the environments that we live in and all the distractions that we have, we forget about it, and we lose sight of all the nudges and nuances that our soul actually gives us on an ongoing basis. So you come into this human body on earth with a soul always connected to you, but you've forgotten that you have this soul. And it's a journey. It's really a journey to find out who you really are. So they've said you are a journeyman or a journeywoman or a journey person, an element of the universe that wants to experience all kinds of things. And so these experiences are useful for you as a human, because you also have something called an ego. And the ego is developed so that you can run your life based on the rules of the context of the environment that you're living in. So if you're living in a particular family or a community or a particular country, that part of the world, a dynamic, a workplace, there are rules that are made. And if you didn't have an ego, it would be even harder to exist in those environments. And so we get this ego, and it tells us how to live. It tells us what to do. It tells us how to stay safe. That's a very important part of the ego. It tells us how to experience life with others and how to bring meaning to things and what to understand and really how to navigate the journey. And we are taught how to develop this ego based on everything that we're programmed with as a human being. So even though your ego is predominantly calling the shots because it's what's been programmed into you from a very early age, the impulse of the soul is always just hanging out in the background, just waiting to connect with you again. So the impulse of the soul is the energy of love, and it's the energy of trust and faith. And it's the energy of the all-knowing, of knowing that you are God, that you are the divine, that you are consciousness. And so you forget that you came in with that connection deliberately. And it's so that the ego can be developed, so you can have this life experience that you're having. And there's many times that the soul will actually nudge you and give you knowings and ideas of how to return to it, how to connect to yourself. And what they say when they say return to yourself, they mean your true identity, which is love. And that's a challenge for us because we have an ego that's run by the rules of the world that we live in. And we've also forgotten deliberately that we were that before we even incarnated. So this ego-run life is not wrong. It's part of the plan. It's part of the game. It's part of the experience. It's part of this journey. So some of the signs of the soul come in different times of your life. So many times they'll come revealed during childhood. And so your soul will try to connect with you in the form of dreams or messages, intuitions, signs, angels. And children have greater access to that because they have less developed an ego. But adults, parents, we tend to ignore that because we don't understand it and we haven't had that experience ourselves. And so we don't take our kids seriously sometimes. And if you do as a parent, kudos to you, is to really trust that your child really is having the experience that they're having when they talk about those kinds of things. And so this is kind of inherent in children because they are freer than we are as adults. But it really depends on the journey that the soul has decided to undertake, because sometimes if you're going through an extremely difficult childhood, the soul will generally stay on the sidelines because the ego is required in order for you to be able to kind of learn how to run your life based on those rules. But here you are, you're a soul in a physical body, you're a traveler. You're an explorer. You haven't done this just once. You've done this thousands of times because your soul energy, the impulse of your soul, wants to experience so many different things. So you've incarnated in all kinds of forms, in all kinds of lives, all kinds of experiences. And it's really to get the experience of everything that consciousness might want to experience of itself. So here you are the image of God. You're the experience of God. You're the God traveler, let's say. And when you are disconnected from that part of yourself, that's the journey. It's the journey back to finding yourself, to this God consciousness, to this energy of love. And when you really become aware that that is the truth of who you are, all the pieces of the puzzle fall into place. And when you recognize who you really are, you can be an extremely different kind of person out there in the world. And people will notice. And you become awake to who you really are. And you awaken. That's a spiritual term that's used a lot nowadays, but that's really what it means. You awaken to your own sense of love, energy, the God within you. But you're not programmed that way when you come in different kinds of families that we come into. You're programmed into a let's say a dysfunctional family, and so you know what the rules are to live there, and so you have all these experiences that are not necessarily love, and it's difficult to really hear the soul when it's connecting with you, and sometimes it takes something really major to happen before you really kind of have that aha moment, that dark night of the soul, so to speak, where you reconnect back to who you really are. And often that is very pivotal for people. You may have had one of those experiences. I know I have. And, what it really does is it really brings you back to the beginning. It brings you back to the essence of who you really are, that you are love, that you are a spiritual being in a human body. And when you connect back to your soul, to the impulse of your soul, there's a strong sense of what really matters. And a lot of all the other stuff just falls away. It really doesn't matter. And just for you to know that you always are connected to that. It's just we get so distracted. And right now, there are so many things to distract us from that in this world that we're living in, that is built up with so many rules and programs and procedures and processes, and everybody telling everybody else what to do. And so what's the point? What's the point? Well, the point of your journey as a human is to experience lots of different things. This is what your soul wants. This is what God wanted when he created us. He, she, it, source, energy, however you describe whatever the energy is that runs our worlds and our universes. It's a beautiful, beautiful, loving space. And so it wanted to play and have fun. And here you are in this physical body, living in the context of life that you're living in, with the people that you're living in, doing what you're doing. And the essence of why you're doing it is to come back to yourself. The essence of why you are here is to come back to yourself, to come back to you. You are the energy of love. You are the energy of God. You are the energy of the divine. And so you are here at this time on this planet, having this experience with the opportunity to awaken to who you really are. And this is the journey we're all taking right now. Millions and millions and millions of us. And some of us are here to assist that journey because we have come in and we know this knowing. And for me, it took decades until I figured that out. But here I am now, and here you are listening to this and watching this video, and it's being revealed to you as I am speaking and channeling this video for you. And so here you are, you're a human being and you're on this planet and you have a soul. And what's it about? Well, it's evolution. That's what it is. We are evolving as a species. We're evolving as a planet. We're moving up in our vibration. And, you got to realize that you are more than this physical body. You are an energy that gets to choose how it's going to be. And you get to connect back to that energy. And that divine knowing of who you are. And let's not fool ourselves. It's not just you and me. It's everybody. Everybody is the energy of love. Everybody has God consciousness. And that might be very difficult for some of you to actually swallow that statement. How can the rapist be God? And how can the murderer be God? And how can, all the powers that be, how can they be God? Well, they are. They are playing out their role that their soul chose to have in this world at this time in order for us to evolve. So we live in a world of duality, of polarity. We have masculine and feminine. We have light and dark. We have up and down. If we had only heaven, we'd be there already. We'd be in the fifth dimension. We're not there yet. And we're doing it as we are alive. This is what is so magical, is that our planet has chosen to evolve, to ascend into a brand new dimension, the fifth dimension, while we're still living on her. And so look out, people, we're on this train. We are climbing the mountain. We're evolving with her. Are you ready for the ride? Because it's a ride. It is definitely a ride. You begin to realize that you're not just a physical body. You are a spiritual body within a physical human body, having an experience on planet Earth that's unlike any other experience you've ever known as a being. If this is not a trip, I don't know what is. And here's the really amazing part. You signed up. You signed up to be here at this time and have this experience. That's why it's so exciting. Yes, I understand there's a lot of crazy going on out there. There's a lot of rules. There's a lot of, restrictions. There are a lot of things happening, but these things have to happen so that we can evolve. And for those of you who've had a dark night of the soul, who've had a pivotal moment in your life, you knew you had to have that in order to really return to you and recognize what was important and recognize who you are, which is love. The energy of love. And it comes from the heart. The energy of love is housed in the heart. It's not in the mind or the brain, it's in the heart. And when you can begin to really connect to your heart, and I've done numerous videos on how to connect to your heart, then when you can come from that place, you're connected to the impulse of your soul. And when you come from the impulse of your soul, then you'll find that love will prevail where you are. Am I saying it's easy? No, it's not. You forgot who you were, but you get the chance to return back to who you are. And when we have enough of us who are in that energy, then we will have our ascension process happen. And we're in the thick of it. We are in the thick of it right now. And so have hope, be willing to listen to your intuition. Take time to be with yourself, walk in the sun, drink healthy, clean water, meditate, take time to be with those you love, take time to be with yourself, journal, do all of the things that will help you to find peace and calm in your life and let go of all of the distractions, because you don't need them. You don't need them, because when you return to who you really are, that's all that you need. and life will become infinitely more pleasurable. And you will have found the God within, or as I like to call it, the love within. Hopefully this has been inspiring and it's given you a little bit of sense of, why are we here? What's a soul? What's the point? And until my next message, thank you so much for watching, and I love you all, sending you all much, much love. Thank you so much.